Okay, it looks like something must be working better. Cool. Yeah, I mean, let me know if you guys are seeing things nicely, if it's working all right for you or not. Hopefully it should be smooth sailing from here. I don't know what I did. Really, I just kind of turned it off and turned it back on again. So hopefully that works. If not, then, dang it, But, okay, so one of the things that I was talking about a minute ago was being able to go in and make sure that my character was standing on the origin point, not at, as if we have a ground plane at the origin point at the middle of the world space. So what we're going to do is I'm going to use Transpose Master. Say T-pose mesh. It should just take a moment. There we go. You'll notice that you can only see like half of the geometry, like you don't see the inside of the skirt, you don't see the inside of the hat, it's all there. It's just single-sided geometry. So it's because we have the dynamic thickness turned on and things like that. So yeah, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this. Let's turn on the floor. Okay. Now this floor isn't the floor that I'm wanting to worry about. There's going to be a floor that it generates at the bottom of your model, whatever the lowest point is. That's not the middle that I'm worried about. What I do want, let's go to the side. We'll turn off perspective. We'll come down here and we will bring this down so that it is at the very bottom of our character. In fact, I'll probably bring it up just a smidge. Okay, and then I'm just going to hit home. Okay, you see how that popped it up? This is now standing right on that middle point. Okay, this is right at that 0, 0 point right here. So what I want to do is I'm going to take my clip curve, and I just want to make sure that these points are all kind of snapped to that origin point right there. And so now you can see there is this home point right here. It's like right on top of that grid point. If we zoom in close enough, we might see a little bit of like a, yes, you can see like there's a little bit of a difference between where the model comes to and where the 0, 0 space is, but not enough for me to really worry about. Okay, so there we go. There's our character. We're going to say T-pose sub T, and we should be good and groovy to go. We'll watch her pop up here in a minute. Oh, her ear. All these pieces are all like different materials. Okay, and just make sure nothing got left behind. It looks good. It looks like we have something down here because this floor grid is staying where it is. So I'm just going to check and see on invisible pieces, like these braces. We can take these. I'm just going to say delete. If I want to add braces in later, then we have a different way of being able to do that. We'll grab this arm. We'll say delete. We'll grab these other legs. We'll say delete. You can see that popped up. So now we've got something that's upper body that we need to go ahead and pull on up. We'll just kind of pull this up to where her head is. And there we go. Now the grid is up where her feet are. And that's exactly how it needs to be. Hannibal. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Alright, I'm going to grab... Let's turn off the eyes. Just to be able to kind of fill everything with that, with the skin shade material. Oh, there seemed like there was something else that I wanted to check too. Oh, let's check the torso real quick. Sorry about that. That was not intentional and that was not fun. Okay. Okay, so the torso should be good. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that may have been masked. Let's go in here. Let's say Z plugin. We'll go subtool master. We'll say fill. Fill with material. Great. So now it'll fill everything that's visible with the skin shade material. We'll see the wand go white. Okay. Now let's go ahead and let's turn those eyes back on. Cool. Let's make sure that things are in the right order here. This is the neck, so I'm going to rename this. I'm going to bring that up in order here. So we've got the hips, the legs, we've got arms. These are the eyelashes. In fact, here's what we'll do. We'll merge the teeth down together. And we'll rename teeth. Eyelashes. Eyes. Let's bring the eyes up. Teeth up. We'll bring the eyelashes above the eyes since they're kind of in front of the eyes. It just kind of makes sense. We'll just do something like that. Earrings, hair, scalp, hair. And see this. Bring the earrings below these things because this is kind of what makes sense. Below the hat. Glasses. That's right, because I've got the glasses there. Okay, so let's merge these down. So we have the full thing of glasses in one subtool instead of having multiple subtools. This makes things a little bit nicer. I'm going to say crease. And we're going to say crease tolerance of 180, just so that way it creases the open edges. And when we hit our dynamic smooth, it's not going to lose where those end points come to. In fact, these probably need to be that startup material. So let's go ahead and let's shade that in. And then these buttons could probably be that material as well. Although there's a lot of contrast there, so we'll have to play around with that later as we get more further along with our other pieces. Okay, good enough. So here's what we're going to do. Control save. I'm going to version this up. Let's say save. Now we got something good going on. Yeah. So the way that you crease only the edges is just by doing that. Have that crease tolerance set up to 180 degrees. And so it's going to look for any open edge and it's going to crease that. And that's the only thing that it'll crease. So it's super awesome. One of my mentors taught me about that, and it was just amazing. Yeah, so there we go. Okay, so what I want to do is let's start adding in and blocking in the other pieces. I'm going to say, oh, you know what? Let's finish renaming these. Blouse top. I'm going to say vest. I may or may not go through and add like a Peter Pan collar to this vest. We'll have to see. Do something with it and just kind of play around with it some. I've gone through and I've played with this with the border of this vest so much. just in like my off-air time. And I don't know. I haven't been able to get it to be, you know, perfectly what I want. I don't know that I will, but you know, we'll see. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out at some point. That's a little bit better. Okay. Let's go ahead and grab this side and just kind of pull on it from this side. Just kind of lead it up some. And that'll help to kind of separate the curve of these two pieces just a little bit. I'll have to play with like the thickness on the vest piece itself, but in fact, let's do that right now since we're here. Let's go ahead to the thickness. Let's say 0.02, which looks a lot better. I'll like that for now, you know. So we'll go ahead and lower that down so that it's kind of making more contact with the body. Make sure that's filling in that hole right there. Okay. Purely because I don't want to lose it. I get paranoid. It creases even if the top doesn't follow the edge perfectly. Yeah, so it's gonna be any open edge for that 180 degrees crease. Yeah, so it's just wherever it's a hole. So even if you have like a hole in Dynamesh or something like that, and you go through and you hit that crease 180 degree, and you crease it with the 180 degree tolerance, it's going to crease whatever open surface, whatever open hole you have. So yeah, topology doesn't really take into account what your topology is. It's just going to find whatever edge has an opening, and it's going to crease it. Let me see. One of the things I keep trying to check is make sure that her balance, that she's, you know, pretty well balanced. It looks like she's got a lot of weight kind of going over this foot, but it looks like she should be pretty all right. Having the hat and the body and the front of the body kind of balance everything out. So she looks like she should stand pretty well. If I were to go through and like print her out, which I don't know that I would, but but it's fun. Anyway, let's come down. I'm gonna finish naming some of these things. Let's say belt. It's the stitch. Skirt. This should be the wand. And we'll go through and we will sculpt this so that it's very organic and feels like a branch or a twig or something, like an organic wand. But that's kind of what it's at right now. Got a lot of coughing going on right now. I've been getting that a little bit lately, where it's like in the morning when my body's trying to wake up. And then I've also been getting it at night when my body's trying to wind down. All right. So let's see. Shoe left. Shoe right. That should be it. Okay. Cool. Now with the shoes, I mean, we still have things to make, like the laces, all the little details, any patches, things like that we've got going on with it, but they're blocked in. And, you know, they might not even stay like that. I might change them to be less like sneakers. Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what it is we do with it. But that's where it's at for right now. Let's go ahead and duplicate the shoe. We'll call it cauldron. Pretty sure that's how it's spelled. Maybe I'm wrong. Go up here. We'll kind of center this. So there's the shoe. But what we want to do is we want to use our IMM primitives to just kind of replace it with one of these. Where did it go? I can't see it at all. Look at that. It's like teeny. I don't know why that would have been so small. That's hilarious. Okay. So there it is. So yeah, let's go ahead. We'll use this. I want to make sure that it's a good scale. I'm going to start building out this cauldron. Okay. So I'm going to pull this out kind of into this. Oh, actually, let's leave this right here. I just want to make absolute certain that this thing is a nice sphere. So I'm just going to smooth it out once. Let's delete lower. Let's come down to deformation, and we can say spherize. And we just kind of run this a few times, and you can see, just like, you can see little by little, it starts to get a little bit more rounded out. I just want this to be as nice and spherical as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to sculpt and cut and do things, and I'll warp this as I want, but I wanted to make sure that things like these poles, these three-pointed stars, all had the nice round smooth surface, so that when I smooth it out, when I do the smooth preview, I can see a nice smooth clean surface. You may or may not actually stay like this. What we might end up doing is Dynamesh, and then once we're done, we'll do like a Z-remesher to make sure that we have a nice clean topology. But in fact, we'll do it like that. That sounds like fun. Let's do this. Go ahead and add another couple of subdivisions here. We'll say Dynamesh. Say do not freeze. Perfect. And let's turn on symmetry. And there we go. So now there's the start of our cauldron. I'm just going to turn off the character. Happy Saturday. Can I rig? No, I can't rig. People are, you're technically able to use Z spheres to be able to create a rig, to be able to pose your character and things like that. I don't like using that because I don't feel like it's very clean or very, I don't know. I've never been able to get it to work in a way that I liked. But I do know a lot of people use it. It's kind of an old method, but it's, but it works. I like to use just very traditional, straightforward kind of, posing within the file, posing in Transpose, in Transpose Master. That's kind of how I like to pose things. And then I also have friends who will go through, like Carlos Ortega Elizalde. He goes through and rigs things in Maya and then poses them however many different ways he wants to. He'll even go through and animate things, which is crazy. Yeah, let's go ahead. I'm going to say, say Control N. I'm going to bring in a spotlight so that we can see. Okay, that was the one from last week, I think. There we go. We'll use this one. So we're going to go to Brush, Samples, turn off Spotlight Projection so that we can, make sure that we can manipulate our mesh the way that we need to. And now I just want to work on making a cauldron like this. I wanted it to be like a nice broad mouth, kind of an awkward shape. What did you mention for posing before, Maya? Transpose Master. So what I like to use is this Transpose Master. This is what we used earlier when I took the character and made sure that she was standing on the on the origin, on the floor grid. So yeah, that's nice because that'll take all your visible subtools and make it so you can move them all kind of as one subtool and then bring it back in and make it, its own thing. So yeah, I love Transpose Master. All right. Cool. Yeah, so let's go ahead. Let's play with this then. I'm going to start off by just kind of playing with this a little bit. Let's say deformer. I'm going to mask those off. I'm just going to kind of pull this in. In fact, maybe what we can do, let's add in a couple of extra bits here just so that we can kind of manipulate them a little bit differently. Kind of shrink that in some. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and we'll say accept. Okay, now that's just to be able to get a little bit of a start. Tend to cut at the joints and merge with folders. yeah. I mean, different things work. It's like, I mean, you can see right here. I mean, you can see that the legs kind of merge into the hips. They don't really have like an actual joint to it. My arms, it's just the arm, and it's just kind of pushed up into the shoulder. Yeah, lots of things like that. Same thing with the neck. The neck is just like this little, like cylinder kind of piece going down into the torso. Looks like a cashew. Kind of funny. So yeah, I mean, I do all sorts of different little things like that. Okay, so now we've got our cauldron here. And what I'm going to do, let's grab mask pen, should work just fine. And I am going to say, I'm going to hold Control and click and drag, and then I'm going to hold Alt and click and drag on that so that it just kind of zooms it out. Okay. Something kind of like that for now. And what I want to do is I want to grab my standard brush, and I'm going to turn on AccuCurve. And what this will do is this will help to make it so that I have like a nice sharp shape to it instead of it being just like a nice smooth let's kind of smooth that out a little bit. now I'm just going to kind of sculpt on this. I want this to feel like it's a little bit banged up. I want it to feel like it's got a lot of organic sort of shape to it. Like it's been, I mean, she's supposed to feel clumsy. So, you know, having it feel kind of banged and battered a little bit is going to help it to feel a little bit more naturalistic, a little bit more, has a little bit more character. Had a bad experience where the mesh became warped with Transpose Master because my masks weren't 100%. Oh, when I'm moving one side, it's warping the other. I didn't see it till my proportions were way off. Folder, system, and merge multiple parts, make it one separate mesh. Interesting. Yeah, that's hard. It's never fun getting into that sort of mess. I'm gonna try trim adaptive here. One of the things I like to do is give the trim adaptive that square alpha, and you can see I could get like this really cool kind of a clay buildup sort of trim effect. It's a lot. It's way more intense than it needs to be, but yeah, you can kind of adjust that as you will. That might be a little bit too much. Let's kind of do an alternate. I find that with trim adaptive, it's better for like small areas. Otherwise, it's going to give you some really weird artifacting. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to take this. Let's go ahead and say slice curve. We're just going to slice that. Okay. So now we have kind of like this open cauldron sort of. In fact, maybe what we'll do is we'll make it a little bit shorter. Get rid of that. And what I should do, let's say modify topology, delete hidden. We'll turn off Dynamesh. We don't really need it to be Dynameshed anymore. And we'll say taper. Okay, just kind of play with that a little bit. Just kind of play with some of the shape so that it's not, you know, perfectly round. And now let's see what we can get with the Z remesher. I'm trying to decide whether or not I'll be okay if it goes through and gives me just a smooth mesh. But yeah, we'll have to see what it gives us. What it turns out. Because like we want to go ahead and we want to downres this enough so that we can give it thickness and have it work well for us. And then from there we can go ahead and start to figure out how we go about getting our, yeah, you can see it's giving us some warping to fit around those different pieces. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to duplicate this. And then for Z remesher, I'm going to turn this down to 1. I'm going to hold Alt and hit Z remesher, kind of see what it gives me. I want to get this down so that it's a lot lower in resolution. In fact, we might even want to go a lot lower than that. Let's see. Let's just bring it down all the way, see what it gives me. I think something like that will work pretty well for what we need for what we need this for anyway. Let's come in here, let's get rid of extra edge loops that we don't need. And let's just kind of play with this. Since this has like a decent edge flow, I mean it's not amazing down here. You can see, it's got this weird, just weird flow, but it should be good for what we want, shape wise. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and say, we'll say extrude all polygons. Do something kind of like that, and then we'll come over here and we'll say not initialize, display properties, we'll say flip, just to be able to flip the normal. And then with this guy right here, this edge loop right here along the top on the inside, I want to take this, I want to say scale edge loop partial, and that'll allow us to just kind of scale it out, make it feel like it's metal that's been turned out. Polygroup island, just to kind of get a little bit thinner, I think. Okay, I want to make sure that this kind of holds a little bit more of its let's say bevel, edge loop complete. Let's kind of come in here and give it a little bit of a bevel. And then that'll hold its shape a little bit better. And then we'll do something kind of similar with these top edges here as well, so that it holds that shape a little bit better. Okay, so there's kind of like the base for our cauldron. We need to add in some little knobs down here on the bottom so that it's, something to stand on. Let's hit taper. We'll kind of taper that in a little bit, although it's not quite giving me what I feel like I want. So let's try smoothing it just some. Oops. Here, let's say accept. We'll try the taper again. That's a little bit better. Accept. Okay, so you can see it's coming through on the inside. We don't want it to come through on the inside. So what we'll do is we'll take this and we will say flatten. You see, I want to make sure that it doesn't start, I don't want it to show up on the outside, so I'm just going to try to make sure that it's kind of poking through a little bit. Hit accept. And we'll just kind of round it out a little bit. In fact, what we might do, kind of bend it some, just so that it's got a little bit more character, regularity. And then I want it to have 3. So I'm just going to place these around. And it's okay if it's not the exact same leg. It's better if it's not, because then it'll give me a little bit better of a look, a little bit more organic of a look. Technically, I guess since it's the inside of the cauldron, we'll never really see inside of the cauldron because it'll have the goop kind of pouring over the top. It's okay if I have it. If I have it so that it's poking through the inside, but yeah, I try to make sure that I can keep everything Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to take these two and kind of pinch them together. Let's say Control Shift X, Control Shift S to be able to shrink it back down. And then let's go ahead and select lasso. And then I'm going to use my pinch brush and just kind of pinch these together, just to give it a little bit of like a, just bringing those points together some, you know, just kind of makes it a little bit nicer. By controlling the topology and kind of where it meets up, you get to control these edges and these shapes a little bit better, and it's a really kind of a fun way to create edges. I was told to use this technique on How to Train Your Dragon, and it worked. I mean, it does what it needs to do. We used it for all sorts of things like bolts, metal pieces, you know. Something kind of like this and this and this and this, and just kind of mess up that that smooth round border here, just so that it's not perfect. And this right here too is a little bit too perfect, so let's kind of pull on it. I'm going to vary up the way that these shapes fit together, so maybe get like a little bit of an offset. Gonna give it something like this. All right. So now this other mesh, I'm just gonna go ahead and delete it. I don't need it. Delete it because I don't need it. And we'll just get rid of the one on the end here, just so that, you know, to keep the names cleaner. Yeah, it's working out pretty well. Working out pretty well. I think I'm going to pull on that a little bit. Maybe not so much on that side. And let's see what we've got here. And I'm just gonna kind of pull on some of these things and see if I can explore some of this shape a little bit better. It's always kind of fun to test these sorts of things out. Let's go ahead and hit Control W just to make sure that that's its own set of its own set of problems. I'm going to make sure that I have a nice shape for this for the lip of the cauldron. I want it to have just kind of a nice intentional surface thickness look to it. Okay, not everything's going to be like the same thickness and everything, but it's going to be, I do want it to feel intentional, and I want it to feel pretty organic. So you can see that has a lot stronger of a surface look to it now. Although one thing that just kind of pull that around a little bit so that it has a little bit more of a more of a peak to it right here. I feel like that's a little bit more interesting. I feel like these the feet of the cauldron are a little bit far out. I kind of want to unify them down a little bit further on the base, so I'm going to take them and move them down quite a bit. Push it through a little bit so that it's not poking into the inside. And that's looking better. Okay. That's better. I'm liking that. Size-wise, everything, I feel like that's starting to work pretty well for me. Alright, let's make sure to save so that we don't lose it. Alright. So now that's a little bit more of our scene. Let's go ahead and center this. I want to make sure that this is kind of more, underneath kind of where her wand hand is. This is my original sketch, so it's a little bit different than I think we're going to actually end up having this look. Well, I mean, definitely for sure. I mean, you can already tell with how the character is going and how I've modified shoes. I think the shoes, maybe I don't know. I might still explore taking it up and making them a little bit higher. But I might also just go ahead and add in some like leg warmer tops so that I can kind of fill in this little space on her leg. I think that could be really fun. Some kind of sock over her tights, I think would be really fun. But yeah, you can see lots of shape changes. I'm going to take this and kind of modify it some. Just to get a little bit more of a little bit more shapely in here, I think. That's a little bit cleaner. One of the tricky things is just getting it to feel like it's, there we go. That'll work better. Because I don't want to lose kind of like the forms and everything that I've worked into the hat, but I do want to make sure that it's appealing, that it's hitting design marks and things like that. So So yeah, I do have a lot of those sorts of things happening with this, and trying to be very intentional with it. Okay. So now here's how we're going to go about making something like that might work. That should be fine, I think. Okay, so here's how we're going to go about making our the potion that's kind of dribbling out the side there. I'm going to duplicate the cauldron. In fact, I really quite like the color material combo right there, so we're just going to fill that. Maybe we'll go ahead and we'll explore, see what that looks like. It's nice. It's nice. I'll keep that. I'll keep that. If I decide to change my mind later, I can. Not a big deal. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take this cauldron. We're going to say Control-Shift-D to be able to duplicate it. We're going to rename this potion. And you know what the heck? We'll go ahead and we'll recolor it. Just so that we know that it's a different thing that we're working on. Control-Shift-A, we'll say geometry, modify topology, delete hidden. Okay, one thing that we need to do is we're going to just go ahead and let's just keep the inside. We'll say delete hidden. And then we'll say close holes. We'll say display properties, flip. So now we can see what it is that we're doing here. Okay, I'm going to say clay buildup, Control-D a few times, and let's go ahead and we'll turn on Dynamesh. And now it's just going to all become about, hold on. In fact, let's turn on brush auto masking. We'll go in to turn on this backface masking because I was having some issues there in making sure that it was not sculpting the backside, those backside faces. Okay, so we're just going to start to pull this out. And then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll grab the knife. Ooh, we got trim, we got the knife curve is what we want. And I'm just going to trim it kind of about right there. So as we come over here, you can see this is taking it out. This is a nice level thing now. Something like that. Okay. So let's go ahead and we'll grab this. I'm just going to kind of polish this down a little bit. Maybe polish down this side a little bit too. This edge over here, it might be worthwhile for me to try to make sure that it kind of like lifts up the edge of the cauldron a little bit, the inside of the cauldron some, so that it's just so that it feels a little bit more liquid. I'm just going to give this a little bit of like a turbulent sort of surface. Let's do something kind of like that. And then we'll be more intentional about where these little turbulent bits are at once we add in things like bubbles or floating, whatever we add in. But I feel like definitely having some of this is important. Let's kind of bring this over to the edge. And then in just a minute, we'll start using some Sculptris Pro and stuff to kind of start creating like drips and things like that. We'll use insert mesh brushes and things like that too. Yeah, let's use snake hook, turn off RGB. Bless you. Okay, so that's kind of coming straight down. I want it to be a little bit more underneath where the potion would be pouring over. And I need to make it feel like it's definitely dripping and not pouring. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to, let's turn on our Sculptris Pro. That's a little bit better. Okay. And like I was saying, we got to make sure that this feels more like it's dripping rather than pouring. So what we're going to do is we're going to do something kind of like this. Oops. And then I'm going to take this part. You know what? Let's grab like this. And I'm just going to flip it around. 180 degrees. You know what? I don't know. We'll play around with this and we'll figure it out. But you know, there's just a lot of playing you need to do. Yeah, make it feel really unintentional by like adding a couple of little drip off points here. Maybe make it feel a little bit I do feel like this feels a little bit thick right here, so I'm going to kind of pull that off. Okay. Just kind of puff that out a little bit maybe. I feel like this is like going too far forward. So here's what I'm going to do. Oh, you know what? Let's mask that out too. I'm going to grab this and I'm going to kind of lean it underneath. Okay, that makes it feel a little bit better. Starting to feel really gloppy. Oh, that's not what I want. I want, let's grab that. We'll get rid of that. And something like that. Yeah, just trying to have fun with it, just trying to push and pull, design. There's a lot of thought that kind of goes into it, making it feel right. Hey Sam, welcome back. Let me see. All right. So here's what I want to do. I want to, oh, that's not what I want to do. Let's grab the IMM primitives. In fact, let's turn on MRGB, just so that way I get the right color in there too. Okay, let's center that. And I'll make sure that this is kind of like right underneath that, that drip. Okay. And then I'm going to bring this down to something about right there. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that this is flat with this. So I'm going to say, let's grab the clip curve. And if I hold spacebar, I can move it. Okay, there we go. So now there's kind of the new base for our little splash where it's hitting the ground. What I want to do is, you know what? Yeah, let's do this. This could be kind of no, let's not. We're gonna say, how do we want to do this? Should use the Sculptress Pro more. Yeah, it's a fun one. It's a tricky one because it's not the easiest to. Come on, ye. It's not the easiest to control. I mean, you know, the bigger your brush is, the bigger the geometry is that it'll leave behind. The smaller your brush is, the more polygons it's going to generate. So, so you know, in a lot of ways, it's really flexible, but it can also be just kind of hard to get exactly what you need out of it. As a heads up. But yeah, it's fun. It's a nice. So just trying to come in here and get a little bit of a splash shape. Just gonna grab this and kind of pull it down and in. Inflate so we can get a little bit of like a bulbous drop kind of out here, and we'll have to use some move brush to kind of create a little bit of that feeling of gravity, you know. So it's like we're going through, we're pulling on it, We're making it feel a little bit more, what's it called? A little bit more weighty, like it's moving, like it's splashing, like gravity's pulling it down. Okay, I'm gonna take this and kind of push, 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 push. And then let's grab our clay buildup and build up that clay. Build up the clay of the buildup. And this is kind of experimental for me. I mean, it's like I'm not entirely sure like what all the shapes would be on the inside of a splash like this. Because it's yeah, I mean, in pictures, when you look at pictures of water drops and splashes and things like that, there's only so much detail that you can see. Um, there's some really good downloadable sculpts out there. I haven't gone through and gotten any myself, but maybe I will at some point, just to be able to study what those artists did and check it out. Oh, autosave. Prashan, how are you doing, man? How often do I stream? I try to stream as often as I can. I usually stream really when I have like a project that I'm trying to meet a deadline for. Um, like this particular one, I'm a judge for the School of Games art challenge, which you can see the hashtag for right there, SOG Mood Board Challenge. Um, you can find that on Instagram. It's a fun challenge. There are prizes. It's done through School of Games and Adobe. Um, I'm good friends with the with Micah Schneider, who is kind of, she always heads up the challenge. And it's kind of create a bit more something kind of like this. Um, let me see, is that working for what I want? I think it is. For the bottom part of this, I think I'm going to have to go through and tweak our shape a little bit, but it's working all right, you know? Cool. Yeah, it's really satisfying. Sculpting along too. Yeah, Prashan. What are you working on, bud? So anybody who sees Prashan there in the chat, he's a buddy of mine. He's actually a member of the Patreon crowd. Um, they are few, but they are they're strong. Um, yeah, anybody who is interested in the Patreon, I'm not as active on it as I'd like to be. Um, but I do try to put up things like different brushes that I make and different events, different special things that I try to find, and resources that I find, and so yeah. I mean, I try to be around. Sculpting a flower. Wow, shout out. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Prashant does some really really cool things. So if you're in fact let's show them your Instagram, Prashant, cuz you're doing a whole bunch of really cool things in ZBrush lately. Okay, we've got Prashant. Check these out. He's got like his P Doctor sculpt that he did recently. He's been going through and digging into a whole bunch more technical sort of things in 3D. Like I think you used Ornatrix, right, for the hair. Got this really cool Speed Force cheetah. All sorts of really really neat things. I loved the water on this, by the way. The little like desktop pond thing there. Super fun. It's super fun. But yeah, so go check out Prashant. He's awesome. He does a really great job. For those of you who are interested in seeing the School of Games stuff, okay, I mean, just since this will be a little bit easier to find through here. So this is School of Games. Okay, it's a school based in Germany. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and drop this link in the chat so you guys can find it easily. This is fun. This is great. I'm going to be one of the judges, so it's kind of a fun deal. So I'm trying to go ahead and finish up my my sculpt at some point. But yeah, so the mood board challenge is essentially you go through and you take an idea of, just you try to pull together ideas based on what you see in the mood board. This is the mood board. So you don't have to use all the elements. You don't have to use you don't have to use all the elements. The idea is to be inspired by, to let these things put you in a mood, right? So yeah, I mean, it's Magic Apprentice. It's you're thinking about these sorts of character traits. Clumsy, nervous, worried, shy, light versus dark. All sorts of things like that. Like whatever it is that comes to your mind when you are when you're thinking about these themes and these ideas. Okay, there are all sorts of prizes. How to join? You jump onto their website, which is linked up in their bio. Okay, and you can get to download their resource package, which I haven't opened yet. I've downloaded it, but I haven't opened it yet. Everything is due April 24th, and then May 14th is when they'll be announcing winners. So really kind of fun. We got about a month left. Okay, 2 months left. Sorry, got a lot of about a month left until that's done. Yeah, any medium, anything you want to use. If you want to do pencil and paper, that's fine. If you want to do clay, if you want to sew something in fabric and make a plushie, I don't know, that'd be something different. I think last year there was somebody that did do some sort of plushie or paper dolls or something like that. I can't remember for sure, but it was pretty neat. It was pretty neat. And so yeah, anything you want to use 3D. That's why I'm using 3D for mine. Yeah, and they've got like the size requirements. Recommend you download the PSD file from our assets folder, downloadable on the contest page, and you can use horizontal or vertical format. It's important that you add your Instagram username in one of the corners of your artwork so that people know who created this artwork. We're unable to add your name manually. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind. But yeah, so lots of really kind of cool things going on there. I guess I'll leave this open in case I need to refer back to it at some point. But yeah, there we go. Thanks, Sam. Yeah, Prashant's a good one to follow. He's a good friend, and he does a really good job. It's been fun to watch him grow and develop. He's been doing a lot lately these last little while. That's not what I want. I want this. Okay. This way I can make sure this is nice and centered. Like that. And I'm going to add, just for good measure, I'm going to add a little dabble of extra potion here, kind of like that. And then, yeah, what the heck. Bring this down to and then what I'll do is I'll say something like this. Oops. I'm just going to kind of smooth this in so that I get a little bit more of like a tapered sort of look here, and then we'll use taper, and we'll just kind of flare it out at the bottom. And then if you hold Alt and use the cubes here on this on the scale, it'll let you get a little bit more of a Where are you located, Sam? Getting late. Are you over in Europe? Thanks, man. I'm grateful to have seen you here. Thailand. Yeah, that'd be way late for you. Yeah, well, have a good night. Thanks for dropping by. I hope you're Oh, you're from Switzerland though. That's interesting. My wife lived in Geneva for a while. Yeah, down kind of like the French side. Yeah, I remember talking to somebody else who used to work in Dell. Not no, sorry, work for Dell. Sorry, but yeah, uh, cool, dude. Well, thanks again for dropping in and saying hi and hanging out with us. It's always fun. So yeah, feel free to come back if you decide that sleep is overrated. All right, let's turn off the. All right, that looks about how I want it, which is great. All right. Yeah, that's true. All right, my friend. Have a good night. Rest easy. I am going to create a ground plane. Let's see. Let's say let's do this, and then we'll say boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom. I might just make this a cube for now. Although last time I did that, okay, there we go. Not too small. Let's go ahead and bring that to the center. And then let's say, oops, let's go ahead and make sure we select that whole top part there. Geometry, modify topology, delete hidden, center that. This way we have like a real ground plane that we're kind of building out on. So you can see kind of what's happening there. What I'll end up doing is this. Let's see. Let's say Control D. I don't want to do Control D. I want to do. Maybe what we can do is we can say Inset. So we get something like this. Okay. It's still single-sided, but it's got this inset to it. And then, like we did earlier, I'm going to say let's say crease 180 degree crease tolerance, so that it creases the outside edge. Okay. So now if I smooth it, it's going to go ahead and give me more of a round sort of surface. Okay, I'm going to say let's get rid of a couple of these interior edges. I'm going to make sure that's more in the center there, and that should be good. Okay, so for this ground plane, what I want to do is I want to define a color, and I want to add a surface noise. Oh, I just got like some sort of weird pinch on my finger. Yeah, so let's define a color. I'm gonna come in here, let's start off with this skirt color to kind of unify it with the scene. Okay, but then I also want to kind of add in some of this, some of her blouse color, just to be able to figure out like some sort of more of a middle ground, I guess. It's going to be something to kind of even things out some. So what I want to do, in fact, let's go ahead and hit D just to be able to turn on the dynamic. Let's turn our RGB intensity down pretty low, and we'll say fill object a couple of times until we get something that we can accept. And then we'll, if we decide later, we can change colors. It's not a big deal. Let's go to our surface. We'll go noise, say frame, and then we'll look at this. Oh, you know what? That's what I forgot. Lightbox from Noisemaker. I want to do something more like this. Let's play with a couple of options here and see what it is that we get. That's kind of cool, but it's not nearly good enough. Something like this could be cool. Let's try editing this to see what we can get out of it. It's a little bit strong, so let's kind of tone it back some. We'll mix basic noise in here too. Let me see. We'll just try some of these different blend modes. Because what the blend modes are doing is they are giving us a different mixture of the noises. So you can see right now, I mean, this is just a mess. But if you hit multiply, you can see it's hitting those high points. Difference is, I don't know, I'm not entirely sure what it's doing, but it looks like it's kind of putting the two together. Yeah, I do have some dappled light on my face. It's the blinds from, yeah, it's kind of a pain. I can't get away from it unless I like sit over here, but then I can't see my screen and talk to the microphone at the same time, you know. It's kind of a pain. Could be the new look though, yeah. Min is going to apply it just to the high points, and Max is going to apply it just to the low points. So yeah, noise scale, I can change that, and that can be kind of a fun way to add some randomized noise to it. Let me see. So let's see. Strength by mask is going to go through and kind of change how it's applying the these masks right here. It's supposed to anyway. Huh, it's not applying it. But you can also change things, how it's mixing by playing with this curve too, so. Yeah, that's kind of. Kind of play with this a little bit, see what it is that we can get out of it. I do want this to be rather large. Let's go ahead and accept it for now, just to see what it is that it's doing. You can see a lot of repetition in there, and I don't like that. That feels too repetitive. So one of the things that I don't know. One of the things I might have to do, let's turn off the noise. It feels like it's really slowing things down. If it'll let me. It feels like it's crashed. Oh, good gravy. It actually doesn't look super bad. It doesn't look too bad. I don't know, if it decides to actually start working here, it could be all right. But I do need to turn it off though. Come on, it's only 2 million points, and it's. Did I have a window open or something? What's. ZBrush is trying to figure out if it wants to actually come to work today. It's like, I don't ask so much of you, just do what I ask you to do. I just want you to process, 16 gajillion points of geometry at the same time, and let me look at it from all sorts of different angles as I want to, and maybe let me change it on a whim, and doggone. When's the last time I saved? I can't remember. Let's just see if we can get it to respond. I don't want to have to. I'm worried that I'm going to have to start over on some stuff. Close the program. No. Okay. I'm going to do two things. Let's go ahead. Let's go into our light box. If it decides to wake up. Good golly. It's having some struggles right now. Oh, good. It was abnormally terminated. Hopefully this means that we have... That's the really, really old... Shoot. Yeah, let's go back into our thing here. That looks like it's really old too. Dang. I'm pretty sure though that I saved more recently than this. So let's go ahead. I didn't. Oh no. So I guess this is the most recent that I have. Oh, that is such a... Oh no. Dang it. Dang it. Okay, save. Yeah, I hate it when I do that too. Man. It's one of those things where I feel like maybe I'll just go ahead and call it a day. I probably ought to. Let me see. Man. Dang it. Dang it. Oh, okay. Shoot. Well, it's 10 o'clock anyway. It's been 2 hour stream, so let's just call it. I do need to make sure that I have this pardon me. Let's go MRGB. Go ahead and center that. Do something kind of like this. And you know what, let's use bend curve because I can, and then we'll up our resolution. Oh, sorry, up our resolution. We'll kind of scale that out. Up our resolution one more time. We'll take this, scale it in. And then let's grab our clip curve, or clip curve. Let's clip that up. Geometry, Dynamesh, turn on the Dynamesh. Man, now I want some carrot cake. Why do I want carrot cake right now? It's like completely irrelevant to everything I'm doing right now. Because carrot cake is awesome. No other reason needed. There's a specific carrot cake I really like getting at King's Hawaiian. If you're ever down in Torrance in the LA area, King's Hawaiian Bakery, it's awesome. make this feel a little bit gloppier, so let's kind of make this feel a little bit more substantial. That's better. Now I just need to add that little drip drip drop, little April shower here on the bottom. Okay. Let's go ahead. I'm going to take this and I am going to say, let's shrink that just a little bit. Oops. Okay, save. And then I'll add in a ground plane and not add surface noise. And second time better in my experience. Yeah, sometimes, if I'm lucky. Do I like it better down here? Or do I like it better in the other spot? Okay. I need this to be here. I need this to kind of scooch over a little bit. In fact, I want to take this and I want to kind of make it feel a little bit more saggy over here. I feel like that feels a little bit more, like almost a little bit more dangerous. Like it's like, oh shoot, it's starting to bubble over. Okay, control save, because I don't want to lose it. And then I'll add in that control shift D, ground, we'll just say initialize cube. Oh shoot. Select rectangle, just get rid of that bottom section, modify topology, delete hidden, put it to the center, grow it out. Oops, why did it shrink? I don't know why. I don't know why it shrunk. Okay, skip note. Let's get rid of that. We'll say inset, single poly. Beautiful. Let's see if that'd be about right. Control D, delete lower. Control D. All right. And let's see about getting that color in there too. So we started off with this. Let's go to our standard brush and we'll just say color, fill object. We'll grab the vest, go down to 20 something and we'll say color, fill it a couple times until we're happy with it. Okay. And then that is all she wrote for today. I'm going to call that good for right now because, you know. Let's say save because we're more paranoid than not right now. And that's where she'll stay for right now. I was hoping to get a lot further, but I didn't. I think I played around a lot more with that cauldron than I was expecting to. But whatever. You do what you do, and then you call it all through. I mean, I don't know. Let me see. I'm gonna adjust. I think the saturation on my frame is a little bit low. See, there's like way high. It's like that doesn't feel bad, but it looks wrong. .5 isn't bad. Let's see. That's a little bit better. All right, we'll call that good. I'm just adjusting all sorts of weird random things during stream. Anyway, that's where we'll call it. So yeah, let me see, just to kind of recap what it is that we did during the stream. We have, let's say always yes, we'll call that good. We had we've removed we've replaced our scene so that she's standing on a floor grid on the zero origin world space. We have gone through, we've added buttons, which is not much to kind of brag about right now because there's so much more to do with the clothing to make it work right, but whatever, it's something for right now. What else did we do? We did the cauldron, we did the potion. Not really a whole lot, but whatever. We had fun. We'll call it good, and we will we'll call it good for now. I'm tired. Time for a break. All right. Well, guys, thanks for coming and hanging out and having fun, and I hope to be able to see you guys next time I stream. I don't know when I'll stream next. I may just go through and keep working on this one off screen for a while, just to try to get it done in spare time. I tend to get little half-hour sprints here and there more often than 2-hour slots. So yeah, I may end up going through and just finishing it off stream, but thanks for coming and hanging out and having fun with me for a little bit. It's always nice to have people around, so thank you again, and until next time, smartest out.